Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to start off today with a little voiceover. I took a trip downtown to the Vancouver Art Gallery at the beginning of January, and I went to see the exhibit Uninvited about Canadian women artists in the modern movement. I just wanted to share the effect it had on me because I was really surprised by that as I was there. I was very, very moved by this exhibit. And I think the reason for that was because I felt seen when I was standing in this gallery by witnessing the work of these other artists. The caveat of that being that, while they tried really hard to be inclusive, there were definitely less women of color and Indigenous women included in this exhibit, but they did try really hard to reference what other women would have been doing around this time. What was so moving for me about seeing this work was that these women, not all of them, but some of them, were not famous artists. They were working artists. They were women who were working and making art throughout their lives, whether or not they were recognized for it, whether or not they became big name fancy artists. Like this piece here in the middle was just one that really struck me, a self-portrait of this artist with her sisters. This is Suzanne Duquette. And I just loved it. There were so many wonderful, wonderful pieces. I can't even go through them right now. It's a really short little vignette, but I was very moved and often was on the verge of tears when I was there. And that's because when I saw this exhibit, I thought maybe someday my work will be recognized in this way, and it will be put together with a whole bunch of other working women artists who were trying to, express themselves, show their work, and be true to who they were as artists. And whether or not they received the fame or the recognition from that, whether or not these pieces were acquired by museums, they just kept working. And that's really what I identify with right now in my career, is that I'm not doing this for some glory. I'm doing it because it's really authentic to who I want to be and to who I am. Hello everybody. So today has been a studio day. I am wrapping it up actually right now, and I've started the construction of the poetry book and the poetry quilt. So that's what you've been seeing today. It's January 11th. I am feeling a bit pressed for time because there's a lot to do, there's a lot of other things going on, and this project is supposed to be my priority, and I'm somehow not prioritizing it. So learning to say no more in future, super important. And I'll show you the page that I just finished. This is the first page of the book. I am gonna add a line of top stitching all along here. But I think I'm going to do it with the blue thread. So I'm going to just sew all the pages together. Then I'm going to do all the top stitching at the same time. So page 1, page 2. So I've sewn them inside out like this. This is page 3 and 4, and then I'm going to flip them right side out. But that requires, I have to do a lot of trimming along the edges. I have to try to make the corners as nice as possible. And then I also have to check to make sure that I didn't miss anything along the edges as I was sewing. And then you would have seen some footage of the poetry quilt. That took me a while. It was a little bit daunting to think about how to sew it together, but I've decided to start from the middle and sew around and around and around. So that is how it's gonna work, and hopefully it works out okay. If not, I'm just gonna have to change it on the fly. I've already started sewing it, so I need to pick up some more supplies. I'm going to be running out of thread, I'm sure, and I also need to pick up more batting, which is the cozy stuff that goes in the middle of the quilt. I don't have enough of that left, so I'm going to do that tomorrow after work, after my museum job. And I also will be working on Friday this week because I need to really prioritize this. And then next weekend I will be out at the community building, so that'll be really good. And I also have a piece that's in a show opening this month, I think next weekend. And then I'll have another piece in another show opening in February, so that's really great. And I also have to prepare for a workshop that I'm doing with my neighbor Dorothy, who I often share the studio with over there. So we're doing a workshop together on the exquisite corpse, which maybe I'll tell you about in a future video. It's a drawing exercise, a really fun drawing exercise where you fold the paper and then the person who is drawing doesn't know what the other person has drawn, and so you make these fun, fantastical images. Yeah, so that is the update for today. Overall, I'm feeling better after getting started on this today. This morning I was starting to feel a little bit frazzled, and I met with my friend Jen, who is my collaborator on these pieces, and was just expressing how I feel behind. And so I think with today and Friday, I should feel like I've caught up and that I'm getting close to where I need to be, which is the construction. I would like to have all the construction of this done by the end of the month. I don't know if that's possible, so I'm gonna do my best because I still have to assemble the book and make the cover. And I still have to put the back on the quilt and the edges on the quilt. So those two things might go into February. But I am gonna be doing the virtual artist residency with Thrive Together Network in February. So I'm gonna need, 4 weeks worth of work because I'll have a day each week that I will be working. So hopefully that'll all get wrapped up, and then I'll be able to finish the river piece. And I also need to finish my 2023 piece, which I haven't even really, I've picked out the fabric, but I haven't actually started working on yet, which I'll probably tell you about in another time. So that's what's going on today, and we'll check in again next time. Good morning, everyone. It is January 21st, Saturday morning. I have 2 days planned with my friend Dorothy in the community building. I'm just packing up right now and getting ready to head over there. Today, our main focus is going to be to work out the details for a workshop that we are doing for Stride Community Art Festival in 2 weeks. And then the other thing I'm gonna be working on is the poetry quilt. So I started sewing it last week or 2 weeks ago maybe, and today I'm going to try to finish the top. Because it's a quilt as you go, that means that I've been quilting all the pieces, but what has to happen is they all need to be sewn together, and then I put a backing on that, and then I kind of quilt more to like add more layers to connect the top 2 layers to the bottom. So if I can get the top completely sewn today, then I could start sewing the bottom tomorrow. That would be awesome. I really don't know how much stamina I have or how long I'm going to be able to work. I have plans tonight and plans tomorrow night. I also have to do some things like get groceries tomorrow. So it's actually a really busy weekend. And I wish there was a little bit of downtime here, but I'll also be able to check in again on Wednesday because I should have some time to do more work on Wednesday. This is crunch. I need to get this project finished, and I also need to get the cover made for my artwork. So I will hopefully make the cover for the poetry book tomorrow so that I can work on that by hand over the next week in the evenings. So that's the way my brain's working. I will show you what I get up to in the studio later. This is where I got to today on the poetry quilt. So it is almost done. There's one more panel to sew on, the long one. I just kind of got in the zone and I sewed like a crazy person. So I didn't check in a lot. But this is really good that it's done because it needs the backing, and I can now put the backing on tomorrow. And then I've decided to do some hand stitching on it, which I said I wasn't going to do, but I think it needs it. I think it needs just a little bit more depth and layer to it to really emphasize stuff. So what I'm gonna have to do is put the back on, quilt that, and then do the hand stitching, and I don't know, and then do the binding. So it's gonna take a while to get this done, longer than I thought. I thought I would assemble and then not have that extra step of the handwork, but I really think the handwork will add something to it. So I'm going to show you where. This area right here, so this area with this fabric on it, I think I'm going to add layers of hand stitch, big stitch across it. So it's going to take a while longer than I thought to finish it, but you know, that's sort of something that happens with pieces. There can be a kind of idea you have and you think you've got it, and then you get there and then you realize that it needs more, and that's what this needs. So I'm not going to freak out. I can still finish up the cover for the book and get the book done and do this, and because I have till the end of the month, and then I also have February. So I was giving myself February to get this work finished as well. So February I can work on it as well, and it should be done before we go to South Africa. So that is the end of Saturday, and I will show you some footage tomorrow when I come back. Good morning. Back again. Gonna tackle this. Hopefully get a bit more footage for you today. I was really not in the groove for getting you footage yesterday, but I'm only gonna be here for a couple hours, so it's a quicker day. But hoping to finish the top, get it sandwiched so that I can start quilting it. Hopefully get a bit of the quilt, like some of the quilting done as well. I don't think I can do all of it, but I'm gonna do as much as I can and figure out the the binding and the backing and all those things. And I'm really glad that this is almost done, because it really gives me a good push for the coming month. And that's all I got for now, so I'll check in again later. So I've decided to use this old shower curtain that was one that we used for many years, and I loved this pattern with the taupe and the blue and like the seafoam green colors. So I'm just laying it out as the backing for this quilt, and I'm just going to need to add a strip of fabric along two sides and cut off. Obviously I'm going to cut off these grommets and then add a strip of fabric to cover up this last little bit. So that's what I'll be doing next.